Okay, yes, NASA knows about Nibiru, and here it is. This was taken back in 2008. So NASA knows Nibiru is real. There it is. Each one of these lines points to one of its satellites. It has 13 satellites. Nibiru orbits around Nemesis. Nemesis is a brown dwarf star which orbits around our solar system. This photo was taken by NASA. It's an infrared photo showing Nemesis right there and 5 of the 6 inner planets. Nibiru was coming into our system at this time back in 2008. Okay, next image here. In 2009, NASA leaked a lot of information to those who were curious about this. Here is Nemesis and its own Oort clouds, has its own solar system, and it was just getting ready to enter into our solar system. Right here is Nibiru, planet number 6. On December 21st, 2012, they knew that planet Nibiru would be 20 AUs away, astronomical units away from coming through our solar system. So while everyone was watching the end of the Mayan calendar and looking for Nibiru, no one would see it. So they knew this back in 2009. Okay, 4th picture here. The 7th planet orbiting Nemesis is the dwarf planet Sedna. Now the dwarf planet has a huge orbit, as you can see right here. It has a very high angle orbit through our ecliptic, just like Robert S. Harrington said it would. So Nibiru has this same orbit, but so does Pluto. So does Pluto belong to our solar system? Don't know. Nibiru orbits through our system clockwise. Everything in our solar system except Pluto orbits counterclockwise. Sedna orbits clockwise. Pluto orbits clockwise. So, all right, where is Nibiru? Nibiru has already gone down below our sun and is on its way back out along the left-hand side of our solar system. It comes into our system between Jupiter and Mars, and it has 13 satellites, or planets or moons, whichever term you like. Okay. The first object that was seen in our solar system was this planet here. You see, the Jesuits are monitoring all of the Earth's observatories. The Vatican pays for the Jesuits to do this. This is the Neumayer 3 station down in Antarctica. They were tracking this object for years. So they knew it was coming. On April 10th, 2015, it became very clear. Then they started screwing up the web cameras that were photographing it. This is a black and white web camera. This image here is enlarged to show it better for you. It's not our moon. You can see stripes on it. Now this was first seen in color above the United States on April 29th by a friend of mine. Her name is Sharon. And she's photographing it right above her house, right there. The next image is showing it enlarged. So please excuse my problems of dealing with this. I had a head injury recently, and I didn't have time to do everything for Janet and Dr. Shasha. So here's the first one of Nibiru satellites that were being seen in our skies over Illinois. All my friends on Facebook, they continue to keep sending me photographs of this thing. There are eight of these objects in our skies right now. Each one has different colors to it. Here is the one right there, seen in the skies over Germany on 03/04/2016. This one object right here goes down through human history. Believe it or not, the Holy Bible calls this wormwood. So wormwood is in our skies right now. The ancient Egyptians knew this same object as the destroyer. During the exodus of the Hebrews out of Egypt, dated to 1613 BC, by an Egyptian scribe named Ippur. He declared that the destroyer was in their skies, and it took up 1/5 of their skies from the horizon upwards. That's how big it was in their skies. The Hopi people here in the United States, they call this the Red Kachina. And they say the Red Kachina will cleanse the earth for all non-believers. Okay. Ippur described, and actually the powers that be didn't want a lot of things to be talked about. Near the end of the movie 2012, you had a Chinese monk who went to his monastery, and he feels the wind over his right side. Then he turns around and he sees the oceans coming over the mountains of China. That was Emperor Yahoo, believe it or not, Chinese Emperor Yahoo, 2900 BC. This thing came out of the constellation of Yin and caused the oceans to top the mountains of China. It took them 13 years to drain the salt water out of high mountain valleys back down to the rivers, and he had to send 4 teams out looking for north, south, east, and west. It's technically called Earth crustal displacement, or pole shift. So that's what happened back then. Noah's flood was about 12,900 years ago. This was another time when Nibiru came through. Zecharia Sitchin talked about it very clearly on tablets number 9 and number 10, where they knew that their orbit, that Nibiru's orbit was permanently altered by the 7, meaning from the Earth out to Pluto. So its orbit was altered, bringing it in closer towards Mars and closer towards the Earth than it ever done before. Noah's flood, okay. Noah had several different names. One of his names was Zaya Sudra, just like Dr. Lesson mentioned earlier. And Zaya Sudra is also in the Lost Book of Enki by Zecharia Sitchin. Okay. Okay. D.S. Allen and J.B. DeLaire. They came out with a book when the Earth nearly died, compelling evidence of a catastrophic world change, 9,500. A lot of researchers have put it, the Noah's flood about 12,900 years ago. So 9,500 is right there within that time period. They described how this one thing got too close to the Earth, slowed the Earth's rotation, and reversed it. So you have to Hopi saying it and these guys saying it. The Earth's rotation slows down. Where's all the water around the Earth? It's at the equator. As the Earth rotation slows down, it all settles back around the planet. But the air the air going around the planet doesn't stop. So you have this intense heat caused by all the winds going around the planet. Then the Earth's rotation is reversed, like Hopi said. Now you have intense cold as the Earth starts to rotate back up. Okay. Now, several people have tried making movies about this. What's his name? John Gresh. He came out with a movie back in 2006 about the Anunnaki. It was called One Anunnaki. And he took this one image here showing an Anunnaki craft. Huge wings and a big center circular part flying over this man here on Earth. Let's see, is these real or not? You see, the ancient Zoroastrian religion also has huge carvings of this on their walls over in what's now Iran. They call it the Ahura Mazda. Right there. There's the huge wings. There's parts right there, as you saw on that one thing from John Gresh. Here's that big circular part right there in the center. And here's an Enki. But look at this. Landing gear. So this doesn't have legs of a bird. It has landing gear of a flying craft. And here's Lord Enki right there in front of it. Enki started the Zoroastrian religion. Now, NASA also knows about this very clearly. Let's see. Right there, 2005, from the EIT 403 camera on the SOHO satellite. What's this right here, coming down the left-hand side of our sun? This is an ultra extreme camera. I forget exactly the real name for it, so I'm just going to leave it right there. And here it is enlarged. Dry plasma coming off the back of it. So this thing is moving pretty good. So that's what NASA knows about. And these images are all real and they're very clear. There's no solar junk in any of these images. You wouldn't be able to see a thing if it was. Okay, so you've already seen this one. Matches exactly the other one of the Ahura Mazda. I mean, of coming into our solar system, right there. Matches that exactly. Okay. Now, NASA imaged Nibiru in 2008, right there. Has 13 satellites. You can call them moons or you can call them planets. Up to you. Okay, where am I at? Okay. The first one was seen in the skies over Antarctica by the New Myers station. There it is, right there. You've already seen these photographs, so I'll get out of here real fast. You saw when it was seen in color. So you already know that one. And that's that one right there. Okay. Eisenhower met with the Anunnaki in 1955. 1954, he went down to Muroc Airfield. He met with the Greys, a reptilian-looking race, and an interdimensional race called the Etherians. Okay. They tried to have treaties for advanced technology. They were turned down. Eisenhower was turned down left and right. Before they left, they offered their help and support for a huge disaster that was upcoming, but Eisenhower did not believe them. He told them to get out of here and not come back again, or we would shoot them from the skies. Eisenhower, in early 1955, went to Holloman Air Force Base. Air Force One landed. He ordered the entire base to be shut down. Everything, including the Doppler radar systems. Within minutes, 2 flying saucers appeared. One landed right in front of his Air Force One. One stayed hovering. Eisenhower was seen leaving Air Force One and got into the flying saucer. He was in it for roughly an hour. When he came out, he left really fast, get back into Air Force One. The other flying saucer took off, and they both shot out off the base. Eisenhower learned a great deal during that meeting. He was so enraged after the meeting that his Air Force One flew at treetop level, leaving Holloman Air Force Base. When he got back to White House, he ordered everyone to never mention aliens or flying saucers again, and he handed everything over to MJ-12 right then and there. Before he left office, he was televised, the first presidential leaving of office televised. He warned many things not to happen. People that knew him in the White House knew that he was outraged because of the way MJ-12 was not handling it. And he kept it like that. Now, somehow, some way, he spoke to President Kennedy, who was incoming. During Kennedy's first year of office, Kennedy specifically went to many different bases unannounced and only talked to the enlisted personnel. You see, there's a really nice person, Philip Corso. He wrote a book the day after Roswell, and he talked about how they found 3 ships in and around Roswell. One was given to the Army, one was given to the Navy, the other one was given to the Air Force. A general in the Army, like Corso, probably knew more about him than he would have liked to have known. And when he became colonel, he took him to the Pentagon. And he put him in charge of foreign technology. Gave him a filing cabinet of all this stuff that was taken from the ships, at least the ship the Army had. That's how we have infrared technology, that's how we have computer chips, that's how we have lasers. In that one book, he described it very well. So it's all been kept very secret. Okay, 1980. Pope John Paul II went to a place over in Germany and went to meet with German Catholics. There was a reporter there. He was talking about the 3rd secret of Fatima, all documented right here. He said, well, it was said that the one girl became a nun. She said this stuff had to be released in 1960. Why hadn't it been released? So this one reporter just kept bugging the Pope over and over and over. He says, okay, right here. Holy Father, what became of the 3rd secret of Fatima? According to Our Lady's instructions, wasn't it supposed to be revealed in 1960? And what will happen in church? Holy Father's response, because of the seriousness of its contents, in order not to encourage the worldwide power of communism to carry out certain coups, my predecessors in the chair, Peter, have diplomatically preferred not to withhold its publication. On the other hand, it should be sufficient for all Christians to know this much. If there is a message in which it is said that the oceans will flood entire sections of the earth, that from one moment to the other, millions of people will perish, there is no longer any point in really wanting to publish this secret message. Many want to know merely out of curiosity or because of their taste for sensationalism, but they forgot that to know implies for them a responsibility. It is dangerous to want to know one's curiosity only if one is convinced that he can do nothing against a catastrophe that has been predicted. That was 1980. NASA sent out the IRIS spacecraft sometime 2017, about 2000, about 1982, something like that. It got out there on station 1983. Several people there, it's an infrared satellite, brand new. Several people jumped the gun when they saw a massive red thing way out beyond Pluto, 4 to 8 times the size of the planet Earth. NASA pulled the story and pulled it from every news station that followed it. But the IRIS satellite did see Nibiru coming in because it comes in clockwise between Jupiter and Mars, and that's exactly what they saw. NASA had other technological abilities that we don't know about. They took nice photographs of, as you saw right there. They saw Nemesis, the brown dwarf star, and I showed you the huge orbit of Sedna, the brown dwarf star, which is number 7 in that system. Okay, Robert S. Harrington was on several teams, and at one point he lost his thing with NASA, and he was threatening to go public with everything he knew, just like in the movie 2012, the guy from the Louvre, and he actually gets killed. Robert S. Harrington was going to go public, and he died of a very fast cancer that no one knew he had in 1992. And there's a long list of other astronomers who've accidentally died over the years up to this date. NASA went into a joint venture with Israel and with the United States. They built a super secret space plane or space probe. It was built in Area 51. It was launched by the Aurora space plane, which doesn't exist. And it went from the Earth all the way out past Pluto, met up with the planet Nibiru, orbited it, did whatever else then, videotaped it. Videotapes, pictures. Let's see, where's that nice picture I need to show you? Okay, where are we? Right there. The planet Nibiru. The space probe was called the SILO project, S-I-L-O-E. Israel, Vatican, US. Went all the way out there and it took that nice, and it did whatever else. Probably sat there and talked to him for a while. And, you know, whatever else. Now that thing, I'm sorry about this. I should have had it all in PowerPoint, but I didn't. Okay. It did whatever it did for how much time, came all the way back, supposedly in 1 month. It downloaded everything to a secret Jesuit base up in Alaska on a HARP facility. That's HARP. That's HAARP, HARP facility. Okay. This was leaked by the Vatican itself. In early 2000, they sent a high-ranking Jesuit priest out of the Vatican to talk to an Italian reporter by the name of Christopher Barbato. Christopher Barbato did several articles about it, none of which reached the United States. Neither did the thing from Pope John Paul II, all being kept under a very quiet lid. Christopher Barbato told his friend Luca Scantamburlo everything that he thought Scantamburlo should know. Scantamburlo did a 2-hour Project Camelot video in 2008, leaking all this information that Pope Pius XII met with the Anunnaki in 1955 in the Vatican Gardens. So the Vatican was tracking this whole thing since then. Okay, the Pope described the Anunnaki as a warrior race, and that, yes, Nibiru was incoming. A high-ranking engineer up in Norway turned politician sometime in the 1980s. He leaked all of the information about the DUMBs, the deep underground military bases, and why they were being built for. Planet X was coming. The deep underground military bases were for the elite of Norway. The average person would die on the ground. That's why the deep underground military bases were built all around the planet. See, Hollywood has been warning about this. Independence Day, ID4, it was outed that the president knew nothing about the ETs or their ships there in Area 51. Deep Impact, Morgan Freeman, a black U.S. president, accidentally outed that the DUMBs were made for only 2,000 people, and that each country around the planet has their own, for their own reasons, and that only 2,000 people of the United States would be in there. Everyone else would be on their own. They also built the emergency seed vaults because of what happened during the Exodus. It burned everything that grew. Nothing was left. That's why we have the emergency seed vaults. They were first found out about Channel 5, KPIX, with they found out only by whom paid for it. The emergency seed vault, or the doomsday seed vault, according to 60 Minutes, was built up in Svalbard, Norway. It's built underground in an old mine. If the power goes off, it can remain frozen for 25 years. The reason why 60 Minutes found out about it is a long list of Bill Gates all the way down, all the billionaires who paid for it and tried to keep it secret. Each country has its own emergency seed vault. The largest one here in the United States is up in Denver. Okay, so you got the deep underground military bases, you got the seed vaults. Now we started seeing all these things from April 10th, 2015 to this day right now. And the Earth is orbiting counterclockwise right towards it, Nibiru or them, these satellites of Nibiru. All this is supposed to be kept quiet. They've affected different people who have been following this. Computers have been damaged by viruses. I've lost 2 desktop computers and 16 laptop hard drives. And I still have all the stuff. What's going to be happening? I have a contact. I'm not going to mention anything about her. She tells me to warn everyone to get prepared right now, as if you're going on a 6-month backpacking trip. She tells me very clearly that this will not be as bad as Noah's flood. Now, what does that mean? That's why all the Fema camps were built around the United States. That's why every agency from the post office on down bought huge amounts of ammunition and guns. They're preparing for something. Okay? No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Each country has done the same thing. We've been hiding M1 Abrams battle tanks up in Norway for 4 years. One of my new friends on Facebook sent me a leaked photograph showing Humvees in one row after the other, with the 50 calibers up on top, going back as far as the camera could see. Nice, clean Norway cave where all this stuff is being hidden in. China built several cities down in Africa, fully built everything, power, electric, water, and they're being guarded. No one can live there. So I'm glad some of these photographs got to you guys watching this stuff, and I'm free to answer any question you got. Hello?
Hi. Okay, I had to find the unmute button.
I was really worried there for a second, you know, 'cause I've been on many shows and the powers that be turn off the Skype or whatever else. Okay, go for
You're
it.
fine.
We love what you're saying. You're really telling people what is based on great research, Bob. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
So, you're ready for Q&A. Let's see if we have anybody in the chat. Anybody, listeners, if you have a question, please put it in our chat, I guess it is, yes. And we will make sure that Bob will address your questions. Sasha, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I'd like you to tell me what you found out about and in Malta.
Well, in Malta, my wife's parents were from Malta after World War II, and you can see the Maltese coin everywhere. I found out a new friend of mine that was on Facebook, he had this really interesting picture of a Anunnaki wall carving. I'm getting down to it real quick here. And the Anunnaki wall carving shows let's see, where are you? Right there. Okay, here we go. Anunnaki wall carving, which rarely being seen. You can see right there in the middle of his chest, he has something wrapped around his neck. I've never seen it. The clothes are always in the way. That's an 8-pointed star, just like the Maltese thing. Maltese.
I thought it's 4 points. It's 4 points, isn't it? 4?
No,
it's actually
Corners.
8. It's 8 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Oh,
8.
I see the corners. Okay, 8
Exactly.
points. Yeah.
Now that comes from the mark of Cain. When Cain killed his brother Abel, he was marked by the Anunnaki, and he was removed to a different side of the planet where he actually had a wife. He had a wife and he had a family. I thought we just had Adam, Eve, Cain, and Abel. Okay, so that's the mark of Cain. Now the Pope during the 1180s, starting the Templars and the Hospitallers, told them to put that mark on their clothes. The Templars went down to Jerusalem and found something inside under the floor of where the Muslims have their main thing right now. They found something that was so valuable, it made them the most richest people in the world when they went back to Europe. Okay, the Hospitallers went to the island of Malta, and they saved Malta from an invasion. And now they're called the Knights of Malta. So that's the Maltese cross, an 8-pointed star, as you see on this Anunnaki. But this Anunnaki carving goes back several thousand years before the Pope and Malta. So,
Great.
are they behind that? Now, the Knights of Malta started the Illuminati, the Freemasons, and the Rosicrucians. The Georgia Guidestones were made back in 1979 by R.C. Christian. Rosicrucian? Now, the huge slabs of granite, they have a basic 10 points, and one of the points made in almost every known language says, never let the population go above 500 million again. And where are we at? 9 billion? 500 million.
7.5 billion. 7.5 billion.
7.5.
9 billion.
You know, but here it is on one of the slabs in almost every known language. Never let the population go above 500 million again. In 2014, they changed one of the slabs and put in 2014 on it, meaning that things were starting to pick up. Then we have all the Fema camps. Now, before Obama became president, I was told so many dreams and so many nightmares of water slapping up against wherever these people lived, causing major damage, each flood, and they were all hiding from the black helicopters. The black helicopters were looking for survivors, and they were hiding from these black helicopters. The ones that were picked up were put in the Fema camps. Okay? And they were made to work with no pay other than just being fed and watered. And there was a black U.S. president who had just changed the United States flag to something different. And all these nightmares and stuff came out before Obama even started to run for office. Another friend of mine, she described herself as a Tea Party Republican. Her name is Just Call Me Kit. She was on a radio show back in 2012, and she was following all of the expenses being put out from Hillary Clinton on down. Because she was mad at Hillary Clinton for ordering all this very expensive furniture. So she was also describing all these things that were being moved rather quickly from all 3 shorelines. All microwave information stuff was being moved further inland, away from the coast, and she described the building of four immense dry storage, food storage, and frozen food storage. And I don't have all the names in my head, but it's 4 states right in the middle of our country. Missouri, something, something, something. and each was labeled A, B, C, D. And then under A, B, C, and D were a certain amount of states. Now, I still have a copy of this radio program, and she went into great detail. And these things started off at $74 billion each. $74 billion each. And she also went into the great buying up of ammunition and guns. So it's only my opinion that when I look around at stuff, I see these huge train cars called Max trains. And they're supposed to have automobiles on them. But they've been showing up down in the South with shackles put inside. And all the sides covered up and just little tiny windows where they can get breathing. And I've seen these images so many times, so many different areas. Different people have been finding these things. They're made as prison cars. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Why would you put shackles inside an automobile carrying train car? Shackles, meaning, cuffs.
Now, let me ask you, Bob. So I want to keep more on a topic about the Anunnaki. So you think that they're going to do all this because Nibiru is going to cause havoc?
Well, I haven't heard it from them, or I haven't seen it in writing from them, but we've had the Watchers in the Holy Bible always watching us from ancient times. The Anunnaki never left. Their human hybrids are still here. And they are the ones that are in every crown royal family, every major industry. They're Freemasons. George Washington was a 33-degree order Freemasons, and so has been every a whole bunch of presidents in the United States, all Freemasons. So are they on their own guiding us certain technological, certain orders? That's why you have the Illuminati, the Rosicrucians, the Freemasons, to guide the populace a certain way. Just like was Galzu. Galzu was the one that Enki couldn't find. Galzu disappeared completely. Now, after Enlil's grandson and Enki's grandson delivered the nuclear weapons against Marduk's supporters, and all that huge radiation backfired against the Anunnaki in Sumeria, Galzu suddenly disappeared. Galzu, Enki thought, and so did Anu, in the lost book of Enki, they thought he might have been one of their gods who stepped in to make sure that the Anunnaki, yes, they created man, yes, they did this, they did that, but always under Galzu's supervision or planning to do a certain way. And once they bombed all those places, that's when Anu came to Earth, after all the Anunnaki had died because the radiation had backfired against them. And they said, basically, we're just going to stand back. We're going to have priests and priestesses talk to the human population. We're not going to be right in front of their faces anymore. Now, the Lost Book of Enki talks about a lot of technological stuff. Enki, in the first part, brings in this one human to write everything down on these tablets that are not said to be mud. They're used a different name, as if it's like some kind of jewelish looking thing, almost like your laptop. And Enki isn't there talking to him. He's talking through something, probably telekinesis, talking through in his head. And then he has things beamed in to this chamber where this human is. Here's several boxes with these things in it. This special type of writing stylus. They're beamed. They suddenly arrive out of nowhere. That's from Star Trek. That's a transporter beam. Now, there was one person named Light who was there with Eisenhower at Muroc Air Base when the Bishop of Los Angeles was Eisenhower's spiritual advisor. During those 2 days, he said one thing that floored him was a huge block of stone suddenly dematerializing right in front of his eyes. The term dematerialize was never used until Star Trek in 1965. Huh. So they had transporter booths, transporter beams. And that's 1954. And here's the lost book of Enki going back maybe a couple thousand years. And here is Zacharias Sitchin he's not saying it's a transporter. He's just making it very clear that these things are suddenly arriving right in front of this human when nothing was there before him. Technology that they had, that we have. It's really kind of interesting. We're seeing.
Well, that's probably way in advance of what we have, and there's evidence that they have some kind of Stargate time travel teleportation system.
Well,
over
okay.
Iraq where they invaded.
Okay.
Some stories that there were things like that.
I have photographs of a triangular craft that appeared in the skies over Paris several years ago. This was taken using a highly advanced military-grade infrared camera. Okay, the image just suddenly shows up as if it wasn't there minutes before. And here it is, its nose is hanging down and it's slowly rotating around. Doesn't have anything holding it up. Where's all this other stuff? Where's the anti-gravity devices holding this thing in one spot as it floated above Paris, France? And I zoomed in on the photographs and took nice photographs off the videotape. Then suddenly this big white spot starts to boom, boom, and there's this huge white circle all around the center of the craft. And it's just sitting there. Now, a friend of mine told me, "Where'd you get this tape?" And I said, "It was given to me." And he told me that he actually flew a plane underneath this thing many years back, and it was called the TR-3AB. It was the Black Manta. So we have human technology allowing humans to travel through space. Now, if anyone remembers the old movie Dune, you saw them going up into space. They went into a large ship, and then they just disappeared. Then they appeared in the skies over our rockets. There's a certain name for that, where they just walk. They go from here to there. They don't have to go across the millions of miles to there. They just go boom, boom. Okay, almost like a wormhole opens up and they're right there. And that's exactly what this craft did. It flared even brighter, then disappeared. Completely You could not see it anymore. Okay? So we've got the technology. We have all of the deep underground military bases activated right now. A military friend made me known to that. The deepest, the best one is up in Denver, underneath Denver Airport. It is fully activated now. Now, there's a mountain in Denver called Arsenal Mountain or something. They built 3 15-story buildings underneath this mountain going down well over 2,000 feet. And it's fully activated. So they're waiting for it right now. Okay. The sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce, before he died in 1945, he was the first person to use the term pole shift. And he talked about an upcoming pole shift for the entire planet. And he had several United States maps made up showing where it wouldn't be anymore. Okay? And those maps have been leaked. About 30 years ago, every high-ranking military official was given a briefing of what's coming, what's going to happen, and they were given, if this alarm sounds, you have 3 days to have everything, and you're being put into a bunker. And they were leaked. They were given a map, but these maps have been leaking ever since. Along the entire West Coast, most of it is gone. Just like in the movie 2012, when they were in the plane and they watched the crust, the shoreline go underneath the water. All there is a huge amount of islands going all the way up to Canada. Lake Tahoe is one massive island. The water went in through Mexico, went all the way up to the Four Corners area, Arizona and the other 3 states. Now my Hopi friends, they live right there, so I gave them the map, and they were really astonished by it.
Hey, Bob.
Yes.
Sasha has a question before we run out of time. Go ahead.
Oh, it's just that the Linkage Institute, A.R. Borden, who have been in contact with the extraterrestrials, including the Anunnaki, who are concerned with Earth, have said that they had taken steps so that the perigee Solaris of Nibiru would not be as damaging as it otherwise would have been, and somehow bending time-space. And I think that the pictures that you've been publishing showing incoming debris in the area of Solaris, and then a ship zapping them, I really would like you to talk about that a little bit. It seems like we are being protected to some degree.
I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Well, Doctor, my contact says the exact same thing. She says it will not be as bad as Noah's flood, which matches up exactly what you just said.
Mm-hmm.
So
okay, you're getting extra time, so go ahead. Neil just said you can take a little bit extra time.
We really want to know about our protectors.
Okay. All right. NASA knows about these protectors very well. Okay, because the SOHO satellite started taking photographs of these things back in early 1999, 1998. This shows from a SOHO camera. Let's see. Oh, jeez. Okay, it doesn't. Okay. No, not that. Okay. Let's see.
These are extraordinary pictures, well worth waiting for.
Oh yes. Okay, this one I'm having a hard time enlarging this stuff. Okay, there you have a flying saucer. No ifs, ands, or buts. Basic flying saucer. That was seen at a SOHO satellite in 1998.
Uh-huh.
And it's seen a great deal of other things. See this one photograph right here in 2000? This huge thing was leaving our solar system. And it actually took photographs of it. Okay.
Wow.
And it's actually seen many other things. Don't have time to dig into this stuff as much. Okay. Let's see if this will show this one photograph. There we go. Here's that.
Yes, there it is.
Here's that huge ship I just showed you for the, and that thing's about the size of our planet. Okay, firing a massive beam of energy, and it didn't hit anything. Okay, but I have numerous other photographs of it actually stopping. The beam actually stops, and there it is firing again. This ship is that same thing called the Ahura Mazda that I showed you the image of it sitting in 2005. Okay, and you know, kind of interesting, you know, anyone that knows Star Wars, look at that ship, 2006, totally clean, okay? Look at that thing. And then here's those huge rod ships, which a lot of UFO guys have seen. These are massive. These are like big base stars or something. Okay, how do these guys get here? Has NASA caught them doing that? Oh, yes, they have. They use a light speed drive.
Oh.
Here's the original thing right here. It was enlarged right here, just like in Star Trek. A huge flash, and the ship is quickly decelerating to be in our solar system. Decelerating. Now, is this Photoshop? Is this something faked? Oh, no. Let's go to the next one right there. A friend of mine that was at NASA, he took this photograph and he couldn't believe it. And he filtered it. It was very real. Very, very, very real.
Wow.
Not only was it that one time, but it was also several more times. And I'm going to find you a picture for it real fast here. Let's see, where are you? Okay, where was it? I think it's right there. 2011.
Just really quick, Bob, you have about 2 minutes to wrap it up.
Okay, here's one of the ships that was firing at space debris, and it hit right there.
Wow.
That one didn't hit. See, it's still pointed, so that beam is still going. That one hit right there. You see, there was a doctor. You guys, Dr. Sasha, you know him. The doctor that did the remote viewing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. He's
Hold on. Corey,
anyway, there you go. Yeah, he did a study back in 2007 with remote viewers. Yes, from 2008 to 2013, June 1st. And he said there would be massive asteroids hitting the Earth's oceans, causing tremendous waves. One of the waves washed everything off the island of Oahu, totally cleaned it. One wave went in towards Australia and went into that one bay. I can't think of that one bay down there. And they smelt rotting vegetation. They knew everyone was running for their lives. And one of the waves went all the way up.
That timeline didn't happen. It was supposed to be.
I know.
Courtney Brown.
Dr. Courtney Brown. And he said the bottleneck didn't include that one time wave. So we survived. But the United States government didn't trust that. That's why they built all the deep underground military bases around the planet. That's why they built the emergency seed vaults. The largest one is up there in Denver. Now, Edgar Cayce said the new West Coast shoreline would be in Colorado. Okay? So,
Bob, we're dealing with different timelines. The Edgar Cayce timeline was supposed to happen by the end of the 20th century.
and I would love to hope I would love to hope he was wrong.
He did. It didn't happen. It's 20 years later.
I would like to hope all this stuff is wrong. I would hope this other alien race slowed down Nibiru's coming towards us just enough where nothing happened.
Stay tuned for Karen Christine Patrick. She'll tell you what happened with the Linkage Institute. I know Karen's in the chat listening, and she's up next. So this is a piece of the puzzle.
Sure it is. But we're seeing these pieces in our own skies with these 8 planets. Okay? They're here now. Hopefully nothing happens, but they are up in our skies right now. That one red one I showed you, Wormwood, the destroyer.
Well, what I'd like to do is that we have to take a break here and give time for everybody to,
Go ahead.
Grab a lunch and have a little break, and then we'll be back at 50 before the hour. Let's see, it would be 1. We'll be back at 2 o'clock. I invite you, Bob, to stay and listen to the presentation that Karen Christine Patrick, and this will give you a very important piece of the puzzle and shed some light on some of the research that you have. What did you want to say, Dr.
I'll just say there's also another part of the puzzle that I'll bring up now, which is that there's a vast underground civilization at many different levels within the earth, Agartha and New Schwabenland and Bodland, and that periodically people, earthlings and other species have gone within the planet where it's way safer in terms of the disturbances on the surface. And that's something that really needs to be disclosure of everything that's known would really be helpful to everybody.
Bob, do you have these pictures on a website anywhere?
No, I wanted to put them on a disc a long time ago, but I didn't know anyone who could actually do a nice video for me. So I have all these. I have over 3,000 images that you're seeing right there on my computer. They've been.
Well, this right here is a PowerPoint all in itself.
Oh, we'd like to invite anyone that could assist Bob in getting this incredible evidence out in disc form for the public to peruse.
We'll talk
contact
about
Bob.
That. Well, Karen and her team are already doing those type of things. So, Bob, after the show, we'll see about getting these into some kind of wonderful PowerPoint presentation and
Sure.
in a DVD form, so people can perhaps purchase them and help you. I know you're like all of us in an economic struggle, so it would be great for us to turn this into something you could.
Understood. Okay, let's take your break. I've talked enough.
Thank you so much for mastering this material and making it available to us, Bob.
Thank you, Bob. We really appreciate your research. As always, you're great.